Hi, I'm Rick Richardson. Welcome back to the Salary Step Up series. This is step 20. In this video, I'm going to be talking about fear and emotions. So it's important that you understand your fears and your apprehensions, also from your boss's perspective, the fears that they may be feeling, and they may feel a little uncomfortable. Obviously, their reaction to these things, their emotional reaction, you can't control, but you can influence them a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit more in specifics about that, and I'm going to be talking about how you can dispel fear. We talk about that in the practice video, but also just understanding what fear is will help you out a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about fear. Fear is an alert system. It's your subconscious saying, hey, something's going on. Your subconscious is able to process a whole lot more information than your conscious mind. And that instantaneous emotional gut reaction to things, that's what your subconscious is, how it's conveying information to you. So when you feel fear, it's something in your mind that's telling you, hey, you should be aware of this. You need to pay attention to this. That's what happens when you feel fear. It draws your attention. It focuses you on that item that your subconscious has identified needs more attention, and it needs it right now. The problem is that in modern society, we don't have the big predatory animals coming after us to eat us, and we don't have the ravaging hordes coming over the mountaintop that are going to destroy our village. So a lot of times our fears are blown way out of proportion to what they should be. In most cases in modern society, our fears revolve around little things, small emotional things that don't need a big reaction. And that's also true when we're talking about a pay increase. Even though if a pay increase goes horribly wrong, you could lose your job, I guess, but that's very rare. There's no monsters under the bed, and the worst rarely happens. So let's keep this in perspective. If we consciously evaluate what we're afraid of, we can dissect that and break it down and determine, is this really valid? Is it really something I need to be freaked out about? Or is this something that I can just go, oh yeah, I get it. I get that there is a element of I could suffer a loss of income, or I could be seen as someone that I'm not. It's going to challenge how people view me. I may not be considered the nice person anymore. I'll be too demanding. Those things, if you dissect that and look at it and see it, you'll see that there's not much truth to that. The reality is that someone that goes in and asks for a pay raise when they deserve it and they've earned it, that's just somebody that's looking out for themselves. That's commendable. That's respectful. That's something that an employer wants to see in their employees. Not that they want to pay more money necessarily, but they like to know that the people on their team are people of character that can see that they're deserving of that pay raise. Whether or not they want to give you that pay raise, that's different. So I'd like to say that I don't want you to make your argument emotional, but in reality, I want you to make your argument emotional. The reason I have this contradictory statement is I don't want you to make your argument on an emotional basis overtly. I want the information that you convey, I want the attitude that you convey to be very factual, very professional, very clean, and devoid of any of the hyper emotions. But what I really want you to understand is that people make their decisions emotionally. Every decision, no matter how logical you think someone is or how you think you are, they make their decisions emotionally. And what I mean by that is subconsciously, where they have their needs, drives, and desires, and they have this little calculation running in their subconscious, that's how they make their decisions. That's emotional. And the logic of these things is where you want to present the logic, but then tug at the emotions, point out how it solves their problems and meets their needs, drives, and desires. All right, so I want you to be positive no matter what's going on. And the reason for this is people like to associate with people that they feel good about. And it's easier to feel good about someone who's positive and upbeat and vibrant. The people that are more depressed and gloomy and everything's horrible, those people aren't fun to be around. So you want to encourage that emotional desire to be around you, to have you around, to feel positive about you. And that is done by being emotionally attractive. Okay, I want you to stay cool but not cold in this. The problem with being too aloof is that you can not create a positive connection. And for me, I had that happen one time when someone, they came across as that they didn't really need the job. You know, it's like, you can hire me or not hire me, I really don't care. Well, guess what? I didn't hire them. They didn't care enough to be hired. I didn't care enough to hire them. I felt that in the interview process, if this person wasn't going to try to sell me on the idea that they were the best person for the job, I wasn't going to hire them. Same thing goes for a pay raise. If an employee is asking me for a pay raise and they're passionate about it, and not that they're being overly emotional about it, but they're expressing to me with very logical and descriptive ways of explaining to me how they've bettered my company and how they've helped me to accomplish my goals. Emotionally, I'm very tied to that, and I will accept their emotion to help drive my emotion. It's a very natural process. We tend to reflect what we are experiencing. If the person across the table from you is positive and upbeat, it's easier for you to be positive and upbeat. So if you want to initiate that and you want to be that positive, vibrant person and get your boss to feel that way about you, then express that. They'll probably reflect it back to some degree. And the better you are at it and the better you make your case, the more they'll reflect that back to you. And that will come back as a positive in your request. All right, now in closing, I want to talk about identifying what you normally exhibit as far as your emotions. What is the typical emotion that you put out there? Ask your friends and family and say, am I kind of low key and a little cold, or am I overly bubbly and am just like, too intense? And there's no right or wrong to this, and it makes takes all types to make the world go round kind of thing. But it's good for you to know where you're at, and then you might want to do a little bit of tweaking, either toning it down or ratcheting it up a little bit just to make your presentation flow a little better. Play with this a little bit. It doesn't hurt to sit down in front of a video camera and talk to the video camera and then watch it back and see what it is about. This is usually pretty uncomfortable to watch yourself talk, but for me, it has helped me to see how I express myself to other people. What I would recommend is that you do this just a little bit, just to get a feel for it. You can probably get a better feedback from your friends and family, and just say, hey, how do I come across? Emotionally, use an emotion word to describe how I come across. Use adjectives, and see how they explain your personality and the way that your demeanor comes across to them. All right, so give this a little bit of thought, and when you're ready, make your notes, review them, and let's go on to the next step. All right, I'm Rick Richardson. This is the Salary Step Up series. Thanks for watching.